Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Just Because Wrestling, and it's big week because it is All Out 2021 week, and of course, this is a very, very special All Out because it is, of course, CM Punk's return match after 7 years away from professional wrestling. After getting probably the biggest return in wrestling history, probably, is that too much to say?
No. What's bigger than what would even come close to it?
No, see, this thing I can't think off the top of my head. I can't think of something that would even remotely resemble, the hype and the gravity of that return. So
yeah,
it surely is the biggest return in wrestling history, and I think any other return other than that, like, was non-wrestling capacity, probably. Do you know what I mean? There was no one, maybe Shawn Michaels, maybe way back in 2002 when he came back from injury, maybe, but like even at that, he was still around. He
was still around. Like I think, and his return was a little strange. Like they did the DX thing, and then Triple H turned on him. Like it was very more angly, like than it was actual reality of returning. And I don't remember like there being huge buzz around the return. Obviously, it ended up being, like, in the long haul, being one of the best returns in wrestling history because you got one of the best runs out of anyone in terms of a career, in terms of longevity. But if you're boiling it down to one moment, I don't think it compares to Punk and what took place in the United Center 2 weeks ago.
I mean, like, that was just absolute insanity. And, like, Punk himself has come out since and said that it was the greatest moment of his career so far. Yeah. And I mean, like, it was surreal to see. Like, it was this, like we said before, it was this thing that we thought would never happen. And, like, I know they say never in wrestling, but this really did seem like it would never ever happen. He was very adamant in the past couple of years that he would never come back. And he did. And not only is he coming back, but he's going back to wrestle, and we'll see him wrestle on Sunday. And I know it's intense. It's meant to, because All Out up until this point, well, up until 2 weeks ago, for me wasn't exactly the best card in the world. I didn't think this card was that strong. I thought it had potential to be a lot better, and then a few matches changed and some stuff got, chopped around, and it didn't work out the way I hoped it would. But how do you counteract that? You put CM Punk's return match on a card, and automatically becomes the most hyped up pay-per-view ever.
And I'm fine with that, because that's all you kind of need to sell your pay-per-view, really. I'm fine with them like holding out for bigger matches. Like if they decided, and I don't know if this is the case, but if they had decided we won't do Hangman and Kenny because Punk's wrestling, then, and we get Hangman and Kenny at Revolution or one of these pay-per-views, what's next? Full Gear is next?
Full Gear is next, yeah.
Yeah, so like if we get Hangman and Kenny Full Gear, and they wanted to hold out, because it is a one-match pay-per-view, people are only going to buy it to watch one thing.
Yeah, see, this is the problem. I mean, like, I feel bad for everyone else in the card, because, like, people are only there to watch the one match. Sadly, I mean, look, I don't doubt that there'll be other really good matches on the card, and there is on paper. But, like, I'm sorry, you're never, like, I really hope for AEW's sake they put that match on last, because, I know they have this whole old school thing of putting the world title on last, and that's fair enough, and you want to protect the integrity of your world title. But CM Punk's return match has to be last. It has to be last. And, and it automatically bleeds into the story. It automatically bleeds into the story, because you could just have Kenny come up and be like, I'm being disrespected as a champion. I should be the main event every single night. I am the world champ, blah, blah, blah. It's, I think it actually makes sense, kayfabe and in reality as well, So... Yeah. Look, we'll talk about, we'll do the same. We'll lead by example, and we'll save that match to last, and we'll talk about that last.
Well, as a European fan, I hope it opens so I can go to fucking bed. Like I don't want to stay up all night to see that, and I wouldn't be staying up for this pay-per-view if this match wasn't on the card. So like, it's making me stay up. It's making me buy the pay-per-view to watch this.
I mean, like, you're paying.
I'm quite happy for it to open the card for me to go to bed at a reasonable hour. Like,
I mean, that's fair too. I mean, like, from a selfish standpoint, that's what we kind of hope. So we can wake up bright-eyed and bushy-tailed on Monday. But look, I think from AEW's perspective, they have to be putting that match on last. Because, like, how do you go on after it? Like, if it's anywhere else on the card, if it's opener, if it's co-main, if it's just randomly in the middle of the card, like, no one can follow that. No one can follow that. I have my sneaking suspicion. I have a sneaking suspicion that it won't go on last. I think they might put on the world title last because Tony Khan is teasing surprises and stuff for All Out, as he usually does. And
but if it doesn't go on last, I do think it should go on first then. And I'm not just saying that because I want to go to bed. It's what makes sense, because if you put it late on the card and not last, then the crowd is going to be burnt out by the time you get to the main event. At least if you put them on first, it gives the crowd time to recover before you get to the main event. I think it's a bad business decision to put it on co-main and then have Kenny and Christian going.
Yeah. I mean, as the expression goes, if you're not closing the show, you want to be opening. Yeah. And because those are the two matches people tend to remember most anyway. And I mean, like, I definitely don't put it on co-main. I would don't put it on anywhere else on the card, because at least if you have it opener, you could put on one of the lesser hyped matches to kind of cool down everyone, and put on you can put on Paul White and QT Marshall in that slot then, because no one's going to give a shit anyway. Yeah. So, like, no disrespect to those guys, but sorry.
Like, I just think, how cool would it be if you open up your pay-per-view and Justin Roberts says the following contest is scheduled for one fall, introducing first from Chicago, Illinois, CM, like, the place would erupt. We went to, like, it's because it would surprise the crowd. It's one of those pops. We went to remember we went to an OTT show, and they did that. They had the main match on the card, like, open, and it just shocked everyone. It was really, like, the place erupted.
Sure, the same 2 years ago at WrestleMania 35, remember Brock and Rollins opened the card, and everyone was like, what the hell, Joe? Like, it was pure unexpected match to open the card, and it creates just that slight, like, because obviously that was for backstage Brock and stuff, and apparently, like, it creates, like, this level of tension that, like, you're like, well, what's happening? This is obviously happening for a reason, and this, what's going to go down. But I mean, like, I think if it's the main event, they will announce it, like, on the day. I think they'll announce it for, like, the buy-in or something. They'll announce that he's going on last. But I think if he's opening, they shouldn't announce it, because it would just be such an organic pop if the first thing you hear, like, if we cut to All Out first and you hear Excalibur be like, whatever, welcome to All Out, and then first thing you hear is Cult of Personality, like, it'd be amazing. But look, we could probably spend the entire podcast breaking down Punk's match, and we'll get to that. But we do sadly have to get to the rest of the card. I know, I say sadly. Look, there are some good matches, to be fair, but we do have to look. We'll pay our due diligence to the other wrestlers before we talk about CM Punk for another 45 minutes. So we'll kick things off on the buy-in on the free show with the 21-woman casino battle royal for a future shot at the AEW Women's World Championship. So far announced for the match are Nyla Rose, Thunder Rosa, The Bunny, Big Swole, Julia Hart, Tay Conti, Diamante, Penelope Ford, Red Velvet, Hikaru Shida, Emi Sakura, Jade Cargill, and Kiera Hogan. 8 other women are set to be announced for the match. Who do you have and why?
It's very hard to pick someone. Like it's very hard to pick like a clear standout. See, I don't know. It all depends on who the wild card or the Joker card is.
Yeah.
Like if they want to go for a big name, if they're going to have a big name, then surely they'd win. Like, do you have any ideas? Like I
have one. I have
okay.
I have an idea as a surprise to win, and I have an idea for a not surprise to win. Just in case that doesn't pan out. So if it does, if the not surprise shows up, I'll go Thunder Rosa to win it, just because I think we're bound to get her and Britt Baker running it back.
Yeah,
sooner rather than later, because obviously that was such a good feud last year. That match, that unsanctioned match. It was this year. That unsanctioned match at St. Patrick's Day, the St. Patrick's Day thing. That was kind of not what catapulted Britt Baker to superstardom, but definitely helped. And so I think
it'd be an interesting dynamic to have that match in front of a crowd now, like a proper crowd.
Yeah.
So I think they'd be really, really excited to see that again, because they've waited, in fairness to them, like they've kind of let it die down now. They didn't have a rematch after that match. They let that, match simmer, and now it's time where you could get excited to see it again. I think
they're arguably your two best women on the roster as well. They're so like it is a match that you have to do again with the championship on the line. But before you get to your pick, I'll say who I think is going as a surprise. If I'm not going Thunder Rosa,
I think we might have the same here. I think we might have the same, but go on.
Okay, the surprise I'm picking is Ruby Soho.
Yeah, that was mine as well.
So Ruby Soho, of course, formerly known as Ruby Riott, formerly known as Heidi Lovelace. She's been posting these vignettes on her Twitter feed. She's repackaged herself as the runaway Ruby. So they're actually really cool. They're really cool videos. I don't know if you've seen them, but her latest one was like the kind of final one, and then at the very end there was like a little tease and it said destination, and then a bunch of like blank spaces. And I've seen some people. I haven't really seen any serious like guesses as to what it is, but I think she signed, or it was agreed that she would be coming to AEW months ago, and I think she's finally able to actually do it. They're probably waiting for the right opportunity, and this would be a good opportunity to do it as well. A battle royal with a surprise entrant. It's just easy. It's easy writing. And if she's in it, she should win because she's great, and her and Britt Baker I think would have a really good match. So she was your pick as well, was she?
She was, yeah. I've tied with it. I was thinking of the Iconics, who are now the Inspiration. But I can't see one winning it, not the other. Like, you know what I mean? I can't pick one to win it. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do see him in that match. But she's the kind of obvious choice in terms of if you were to go with an outside person to come in and do it. Unless, but I can't imagine because it's not on pay-per-view. I would say they'll go Heidi Lovelace. If it was on pay-per-view, I could have been tempted to go with AJ Lee. Or
it's interesting you say that, because Punk actually came out and addressed those rumors today about his. He said she's retired due to injuries with her neck. So it's not due to the fact she doesn't want to wrestle anymore. It's due to injuries. So he said she doesn't, and he doesn't want to see her back unless she can do it healthily. And so he said, so for the moment, there's no chance for coming back. But he didn't rule out that day wouldn't come someday.
Well, like if Edge can do it, and if just countless Brian, Christian, if there's sure there probably is a way back. Like I see Paige came out this week and said that she's not going wrestling.
Yeah, she said that. So AJ would be cool. And look, maybe it's working us, I mean, like he could be, but he seemed fairly serious. I doubt that's something he would kind of mess about with, his wife's, potentially career-threatening injuries. Yeah. And and yeah, life-threatening injury. You know, who knows? So yeah, I wouldn't expect her, but I think Ruby Soho or the Inspiration are more likely candidates. But who knows? Well, obviously, there's been so many bloody releases over the last couple of months or year.
Could be a lot of people,
be a lot of people. So we'll wait and see. We'll move on to the actual main card now. And the first match is a big old Forbidden Door match. It's Tony Khan busting in an old Forbidden Door. It's Jon Moxley going one-on-one with New Japan Pro Wrestling own Satoshi Kojima, bread enthusiast, and former IWGP heavyweight champion, kind of less importantly. But anyway, so yeah, Jon Moxley versus Satoshi Kojima. Who'd you have and why?
I'm going Moxley, but it's an interesting choice in terms of anyone you could have had, come over. Yeah. I heard during the week that it was actually Moxley's request to work with Kojima, which is an interesting one. But it's Moxley. Sure. It's a non-title match. Like if he still had the US title, then I could have been tempted maybe that the New Japan guy takes the US title back to New Japan. But no, it's going to be Moxley here. Yeah,
I mean, you shit going on in the background, but I've got obviously with Moxley, he's he's one of AEW's top guys, if not the top guy. Certainly from a babyface standpoint. Like he's essentially their Stone Cold, and I think I heard that as well, that he requested Kojima because New Japan have for ages always have their kind of like their dad squad of like the older veterans, but Kojima is probably one of the better ones. Probably him and Suzuki are probably the best in ring still, and I think it'll be a really good match. And my bold prediction. I'm going Moxley as well, by the way. But my bold prediction for this match is that we'll get some more Forbidden Door action. And after the match, Jon Moxley will declare himself at the G1. Because, that is coming up in very soon, in the next month or so. And I do think we'll see a couple of outsiders, Impact AEW guys in that match. One of the hot favorites for that would surely be Moxley. Because the problem with him as well with AEW booking is trying to keep him away from the world title picture now, especially after such a long run, and the fact that the guy who beat him for the championship is still the champion, and the fact that they had such a long feud as well, so get him out of the country for a month or so and have him wrestle over New Japan G1, advertise AEW as well. So yeah, that's my bold prediction for that match. But yeah, both one Moxley. I mean, that's fairly obvious, I would say. Next up is another match that actually could potentially steal the show from the off. It could be a 5-star classic. This one. It is PAC going one-on-one with Andrade El Idolo. Who do you have and why?
Like the obvious choice is Andrade here because he's the newer guy and he's the
Before you make a prediction, let me just add something that will probably steer you a certain direction. Andrade came out there either today or yesterday and said that Ric Flair will be in Chicago. So make of that what you will.
Once he's not on trains, then we'll be all right. But
and Rick also said that himself, that he would. He's ruling out a singles match completely. He said that's impossible for him to do, but he's not ruling out a tag match. So there we go. Deal with that information.
I'm gonna go with Andrade. So I think that might be it. I think you might get like Flair coming towards the end and low blow fucking never PAC, low blow PAC and all that. So it'll be an interesting one. It'll be interesting to see Rick in AEW.
If he shows up, I'm not guaranteed.
If he shows up, yeah. But I'm gonna go Andrade. But my worry then is what you do with Andrade. because the way I have my predictions going here, the way I think it's going to work out, like you're not left with many baby faces to work with. You're like, it's a lot of heels going up.
Yeah, at the top of the card. I mean, it's a strange one because I didn't think that the Lucha Bros would be in the tag title match. I didn't think they'd get that far. I thought it would be Jurassic Express, because they seem to be teasing like that feud, and Jurassic Express potentially being the ones to take the titles off the Bucks. But so I was predicting Andrade here with a Lucha Bros heel turn and joining Andrade and Chavo as like this new, Mexican, stable, new kind of LWO sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, but look, I don't think that'll happen anymore, considering that the Lucha Bros are probably going to be later on in the card in a title match. I'll go Andrade anyway, probably by nefarious means. Maybe he'll debut someone else as a stablemate or something. I don't know. But yeah, I think Andrade, he's the kind of hotter, newer guy, even though his debut now seems like a distant memory, seeing as everyone else has debuted in the company so far.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll go Andrade. But I can't wait for the match though. I hope that match opens, because that'll be very good.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting match to watch. Other than Punk and Darby, it's the match I'm most interested in.
Yeah, I think it'll be fantastic, like from an in-ring perspective. But yeah, I can't wait any longer, Jack. I have to talk about the big return match of the evening. Like I can't hold it in any longer. I have to talk about this match. We've been waiting so long for it. It is, of course, Paul White going one-on-one with QT Marshall. The big return of Paul White in the ring. Sadly, we do have to talk about this. It is Paul White, of course, going one-on-one with QT Marshall. In Paul White's, if you don't know, formerly known as The Big Show, his debut match in AEW. What a night for debuts, huh? But yeah, who do you have in mind in this one?
I'm obviously going Paul White. It's a weird one. Like I like Big Show, Paul White. I do like it and like him, and I like watching him wrestling. But putting his return match on the same card as CM Punk's return match isn't doing him any favors. But I'm not as down on the match as you are. I'm interested to see what he can do.
I'm so down on this match.
Like Big Show can still go. Like,
listen to me, right? Listen to me, right? Right, Big Show. Yeah, okay, maybe he can. He can go as far as the Big Show can go as the Giant or whatever. Like he can do. There's not a lot that it takes for him to go in the ring. Right, that's fair enough. That's fine. And I love the Big Show. I think the Big Show is fantastic. He seems like a really nice person as well in real life. So I'm all for him, being successful and carrying on wrestling. But I would genuinely love to see him in any other role bar in-ring competitor. Genuinely any other role. Like, commentary is fine by me. Whatever. Keep him on commentary on whatever show he's on now. That's fine. And my other issue is I don't understand how him going in there and probably battering around QT Marshall is going to benefit anyone here. Like the way I would have preferred anyway that they booked Paul White was, say, book him against, have him be the guy to run out and make the save for Aaron Anderson against Malachi Black, and then book Malachi Black versus Paul White.
But see, you can build to that, because there's no point in having him, because I think you're just too used to how WWE would book him. Like, you need to build up that he is a threat, he is a giant before you beat him, because it makes it mean a bit more. Not have him run out and lose.
No, but that's fine. But we're all like, yeah, but you have to give AEW, you have to let AEW as well not treat us like idiots and pretend not to know who he is. You know what I mean? Anyone who has watched wrestling before probably knows who the Big Show is, and Like
Yeah,
I don't
but like
I don't need
it's
Paul
not
White.
about it's not about not knowing who he is. It's about establishing that he's a giant. He's not this comedy buffoon that we've seen for the last 10 years on the other
But like,
channel.
yeah, I know that, but beating up QT Marshall, who's one of the worst fucking wrestlers I've ever seen, like that's not gonna put him over in my mind.
Like I think it'll be a squash. I think it won't last long. I think maybe 3 minutes. And
See, the other thing is that Nick Camarado and Aaron Solo will be ringside for QT Marshall as well. You know, will they interfere? I could see QT, or I could see Paul White winning, and then Anthony Ogogo potentially returning and knocking out Big Show or something, and putting him over like that. I don't know. Like, I really couldn't give a shit, to be honest. It's Paul White versus QT Marshall. I don't understand how this is on pay per view.
Like, this could have easily headlined the Dynamite or something. You know what I mean? Like,
or Rampage or whatever. Like, it could have been on anything. But yeah,
strange one for the pay per view, right? It is.
Strange one for pay per view, but it is what it is. I'll go Paul White because it'd be weird. I think it'd be very weird for QT Marshall to win, because what are you building him towards? He's not going to be world champion or anything. So anyway, moving on. The next match is quite a big match, to be fair. Bit of a weird build to it, but hopefully the end result is worth the build. It is, of course, Chris Jericho going 1-on-1 with MJF, with the stipulation that if MJF wins, Chris Jericho must retire from as an in-ring competitor in AEW. So this is obviously the stem from the whole trials, or what they call labors of Jericho, where Jericho had to win a series of matches over a course of weeks, where if he won them all, the end result would be a match with MJF at All Out. He lost the last match to MJF, and then Jericho came out like 2 weeks later and said, "I don't want the match," and MJF basically went, "Okay, only if you put on the thing."
If him and MJF was at All Out was always the plan, like, why not just have a random other fifth labor and then have Jericho overcome that? Like, I don't. It's very much a disconnect. I'm done. I've been done with this feud for a long time. How many endings has this feud got?
It's gone on for a very long time. It's been going on for a very, very long time. The fact that
they've
done,
it's not even that, but like it's always seems like a definitive ending. Like him throwing Jericho off the War Games cage should have been the end of this feud. That was months ago. Like, and that should have been the end. Like, it was a devastating thing, and he was on TV next week with a sore elbow. Like, it's stupid.
Sure, he's wrestling as well.
Yeah, like I'm not a big fan of this feud. I was, but it's just way overplayed now.
It's the same as the Jericho Orange Cassidy feud, that like it just went on for ages, and to the point where like so many endings, like there could have been so many points in the feud where you could have gone, right, that's it.
Yeah.
And then they just kept going and kept going, because I don't know it's because of Jericho's age or his star power or whatever. They're trying to keep him as exclusive as possible and trying to have him wrestle as few guys as possibly to make his matches seem special or something. I don't know. But like what's really saps the energy for me for this match is the fact that MJF, like on every corner, MJF has beaten him, like at every corner, and now Jericho's career is on the line, and either Jericho wins and it means nothing because you're giving your fastest rising heel in the company in wrestling, your fastest rising heel, a loss on pay-per-view, or MJF wins again and it has way less pop and consequence than before, because this is his third time in singles competition beating him, fourth time overall or something like that. Like, so who do you think's winning?
I think Jericho's going to win, mainly because I don't see him retiring. I don't see him ending or leaving AEW as a wrestler. And Yeah, I unfortunately I think Jericho's going to win, and I think this feud, which will make no sense, but I think this feud may still continue. I don't know. What else can they do?
That's the thing. Like, what else can they possibly do to have to continue this on? And like Jericho, like I don't know, is it a red herring? You know, the fact that they moved Jericho to commentary on Rampage, and I don't know, is that a ruse that like, oh, you know, this is if you want to see or hear Chris Jericho on AEW now, you'll have to tune into Rampage where he's on commentary. But then like you're paying Chris Jericho a stupid amount of commentary.
Well, that's the thing. If the only reason I could see him losing here is if he's going on tour with Fozzy or something and going away for a while. But like they're adamant that he's going to remain on commentary if he loses and all of this. So if Jericho's going to be there and he's going to be turning up to these towns, then you're paying him way too much just to commentate. He needs to be wrestling. So, or he needs to be involved in some.
Yeah, he needs involved. Yeah, so, exactly. Not.
You can't just be a commentator. So I don't know. I think it will be Jericho winning, but I don't know. I'm not excited for this match at all.
Yeah, I mean, like I'd be way more excited for this match if like they just kind of held their load and didn't do it.
If they didn't do the fifth labor as MJF, I'd be more intrigued by this match. But it's the fact that he was the fifth labor,
and he won.
Yeah, and I'd be interested to see that. I'd be interested to see, was he always supposed to be the fifth labor, or was it that they had a fifth labor and it didn't work out or something? I don't know, but it's very strange.
It's strange. It is strange, and I do feel like this. Like when you think about like this feud or this story, anyway, has been going on since November last year at Full Gear. Or even before that, because the build was too. This has probably been going on for a year now. This story of JF and Jericho. But yeah, I don't know who's going to win, to be honest. I'll go Jericho as well, just because I can't think of anyone else. Like I can't see any way this feud continues. You know what I mean? Or I don't know. I can't see Jericho stepping away from me. So I'll go Jericho. Next up, we have our first title match of the night. It is the AEW TNT Championship match between AEW TNT champion Miro defending his title against Eddie Kingston. Who do you have and why?
Miro. Why take it off him? He's been fantastic. He's been one of the better things about AEW in the last kind of 2 months, 3 months, ever since he got the title and got away from Kip Sabian. He's been fantastic. He's been what we've wanted and expected from since he left WWE. He's living up to his potential now. So I'm excited by it. I think Eddie Kingston's a great opponent for him because Eddie Kingston will make him look like a monster. And Eddie Kingston will bump for him as well. So I think Miro, and I think maybe he might make Eddie Kingston tap, possibly.
Yeah. I agree with you. Miro will win. This is one of the easier ones, I think, to call. Like I love Eddie Kingston and that, but like Miro is where it's at right now with the TNT title. Like he's doing a superb job with the belt. The whole Redeemer gimmick is fantastic. God's favorite champion, all that kind of stuff. It's all really, really good. Yeah. And like you said, it's what we kind of knew he was capable of, and he's finally achieving that potential, like no offense to Eddie Kingston or anything, but I feel like more of an up and comer, will probably take the belt off him just to get that rub. I'm thinking Sammy Guevara, now that he's a baby face and stuff. I think someone like him might take it off him. But who knows? I don't know who's going to take it off him somewhere down the line, but it won't be Sunday. Miro's saying, I don't know if he'll make him tap out, but look, if he does, it just makes him look like he's more of a beast. Miro to retain. Next up, we have the steel cage match for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. It is the AEW World Tag Team Champions, the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, defending their titles against the Lucha Bros, Penta Zero Miedo and Rey Fenix inside of a steel cage. Who do you have and why?
Like, logic would dictate the Young Bucks, but if Kenny is retaining against Christian, I think he will, then, and Miro's retaining, then you're talking a whole card without a title change.
Yeah, I was thinking, I had this thought process as well, that like there'd be no title changes, but I think that's not too far out of the question. If you're coming, like, are you really going to care about a title change on this card? You know,
not really, no.
Really, you know what I mean? If you were ever going to do it, if you're ever going to do a pay-per-view where none of the titles changed hands, it was probably this one.
Yeah.
You know, like any other pay-per-view, think about it. You tune in because there's big shocks, big moments, big title changes. You know, we have the biggest moment here possible, you know, in the AEW universe anyway, in the wrestling universe probably. And, you know, you don't need, like, any title change would probably go under the radar. let's be honest, you know. So yeah, look, I'll go with mine. I'm going the Bucks to retain, because if it was Jurassic Express in this match, I probably would have picked them just because I felt like they were building towards them eventually trumping them. And I think it is a kind of a question now, who do you have lose first, Kenny or the Bucks? Who loses their title first? And I think it'll probably be the Bucks, but I don't think it'll be now. And I don't know who will beat them. But maybe Jurassic Express still, I don't know. But I can't see the Lucha Brothers doing it. I just think that the Lucha Brothers are in there to do mental shit in the cage. I think there's going to be just craziness going on inside that match. It's gonna be a spot fest. Don't get like, if you're a wrestling purist and you're a Jim Cornette fan, don't watch this match because you will be upset. But yeah, no, the Bucks will retain. I think but it'll be mental.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I probably will go with the Bucks, but if any title was to change in this card, it would most likely be this. But I'm still going to go to Bucks.
Yeah, that's fair. Next up, it is the AEW Women's World Championship match. It is AEW. We're fairly certain on who we're both going there in this one, I say. But for formality's sake, it is AEW Women's World Champion Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, defending her title against Chris Statlander. Of course, this was the match that was originally meant to happen at Double or Nothing last year, and then Statlander obviously got injured, tore her ACL, put her out of action for a good long while. And now we're getting it at All Out 2021. However, I think it's a bit of a foregone conclusion. I'm assuming you're also picking Britt Baker to retain her.
Yes, yeah. Like, she is one of your main stars. When CM Punk comes back to wrestling, the first person he mentions, first thing he says in a live mic in 7 years is something about Britt Baker. Then, you know, she's not losing to Chris Statlander at the next pay-per-view.
Yeah, you know, and I love Chris Statlander. I think she's brilliant, but like, yeah, Britt Baker is that women's division. Do you know what I mean? Like, that women's division, it has to lead. Like, they should be building it in her image, if you get me. Like, it's amazing to me that we've had 3 women's champions before her. You know what I mean? Like, I think she is like, she was our first ever signee, bar all the elite guys. She was, you know, they made such a fucking, you know, bones about her that it's mad to me it took this long to put the belt on her.
Yeah.
But I think it will be paid off with a massive reign from her. I think we're looking at a really long reign. And I don't know, like, honestly, I wouldn't even be considering who takes the title off her right now. I would just be, let's just establish her as a dominant champion, the cornerstone of this division, and, you know, just have her go out there and beat people. You know, probably be a good match, don't get me wrong, but look, Britt Baker's winning. There's no ifs or buts about that one. Probably that's probably the easiest prediction of the card, to be honest. Next up, it is and yes, I am going this one first. It is the AEW World Championship match. It is AEW World Champion Kenny Omega defending his title against the Impact World Champion Christian Cage. Of course, Christian beating Kenny on the first episode of Rampage 3 weeks ago to become Impact Champion, handing Kenny his first pinfall loss in I don't know how long, a year and a bit or something. But yeah, now going for the AEW title. Who do you have in mind?
I'm going Kenny. As you said, Christian's already beat him now. I think that was to establish that Kenny is beatable, that he can be beaten, and to throw like a bit of doubt that Christian may and can beat him at All Out. But I think Kenny's winning. I think this Kenny reign is continuing. I think I have a fair idea who's going to take it off him.
Yeah.
I think if they're not going Hangman, which seemed as if it was always going to be the case, and now all of a sudden it's not, because we were supposed to it was always supposed to be Kenny and Hangman here at All Out.
Yeah.
So, and this was supposed to be the moment, but now that's not happening. Hangman's not on the card.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be Brian Danielson who will eventually take it off him.
I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think
it'll still be Hangman.
Possibly.
I'm not sure why. Like, there's probably some underlying reason as to why we're not getting that match now. Maybe it's the Punk thing. Maybe that's why that they want, like you said, they want to hold off on that, and give Hangman his moment. Like, give him the win that he deserves after, the story that's been running since All Out 2019, essentially. And I think we might get that full year, 1 year to the day since their first match in the tournament final thing. Or nearly to the 1 year to the pay-per-view. It's a pay-per-view that Hangman basically named. It's I think it might, I think it might happen a full year. If we don't see it leaning towards that a full year, then I don't know. But yeah, for now, Kenny surely wins, and Bryan Danielson showing up to beat him. I mean, it would be huge. It'd be cool. I wouldn't be totally against, but the wrestling kind of purist in me wants the Hangman storyline to come to its natural conclusion and have him be Kenny for the title. I'll be so sad if that doesn't happen. Like, I've invested too many feelings in it.
I think this match closes, and I think Bryan Danielson confronts him at the end of the pay-per-view.
Yeah,
I think the pay-per-view closes with. See, I don't know if they'll go final countdown or where the Valkyries, because
I think they do countdown, because final countdown's Bryan Danielson, which is, I'm assuming he'll be.
Yeah, maybe. But see, people would be more familiar with Flight of the Valkyries or Ride of the Valkyries, whatever it's called. And that's a public domain song, so we don't have a trademark, so they're able to use it. But
yeah. Maybe. I mean, either way, I think either one would work just as well. Yeah. I think, especially
I think that's how we close out this pay-per-view.
I think I half agree with you. Which leads me on to the main event. I'm calling it the main event because I think it should be. It's also the main event.
It is the main event, whether it goes on last or not. This is what people are tuning in for. This is the main event.
It's also listed as last on Wikipedia, and so whoever wrote that article probably agreed with me. It is, of course, CM Punk versus Darby Allin in CM Punk's return match, his first match in 7 years, since January 2014 to September 2021. A long wait, and we're finally going to see it happen, and it's against none other than Darby Allin, one of the most over guys in AEW, one of my favorites, my personal favorites. And of course, Sting will be ringside.
Yes.
not to brush him under the rug, but whatever. So yeah, Punk versus Darby. Who do you have and why?
I'm going Darby. I think Darby's going to win. I like to continue with the theme of the Last Dance and everything. I think they should tell the story of like when Michael Jordan came back to the Bulls originally. Didn't go so well for the first 2 or 3 months. Like he was wearing the number 45, wasn't the same. Then he eventually went back to 23 and became Michael Jordan again. But I think they're going to tell that story here. I think it's going to be a couple of months before we start to see Punk like properly pick up momentum in AEW. And like his whole thing is, since he's come in, has been, I want to help people. This isn't about me. This is about, helping young talent. He had the line of, I'm here to help talent who have the same passion that I had stamped out and all this. And I think one of the reasons his passion was stamped out was because there were so many when he was on top, when he was that guy, like there were so many people coming in, older people who were kind of like from the past coming in and, beating him, like Triple H and Brock and all these people. And I just feel that he wants to give back more. So I think he's gonna what way of giving back than having Darby beat you clean in your first match back.
Yeah.
And you have the cushion of telling the story of, well, he hasn't wrestled in 7 years. He isn't like, Rome wasn't built in a day. He isn't the same guy we saw 7 years ago. It takes time to get back to that. So, yeah, I think Darby's going to win, especially because it's babyface and babyface. If Punk was wrestling a heel starting out, I'd go Punk. But because it's babyface, I'm going to go Darby to win.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Darby wins. I think, basically, I agree with everything you said. I think they will run that storyline of Punk. Is Punk the same? Like, he's not the same guy, like we already know he's coming out to cult personality, but like maybe he comes out in like different gear to what we're used to or something, and
like Jordan's 45, like it's not the same Jordan.
There's something different, and it's not exactly, or like he doesn't go for the GTS or something, like he goes for like a different finisher or something like that, or he won't like he'll go for the Anaconda Vice more so or something like that. So yeah, I think Darby wins. I think it puts Darby over massively. Because of course it does. I think like you immediately cement Darby as like either the next challenger for the title or the one of the top guys. Well, he's already one of the top guys anyway, but like you're cementing him with a Punk win. And then I think like it'll be weird. I think it'll be a weird reaction from the crowd, but I think if they put on a decent enough match, they won't care and they'll appreciate, like especially if Punk endorses him afterwards, shakes his hand, raises him up. I think that'll. And if like Darby catches him maybe with a roll up or something, like catches him with something sneaky enough, not sneaky, but like wily enough that like Punk couldn't have prepared for it. And then I think afterwards Punk cuts a promo, and that's when we get Bryan Danielson. I think this match closes with Punk, being like, it was great to come back. I'm not done, whatever, but maybe I'm not the same old Punk that I used to be. And then Bryan Danielson comes out to reinvigorate him and be like, you're still calling yourself best in the world. Now prove it. And like you build that match at Full Gear. And, you have those guys no doubt bring the best out of each other. And I mean, you can go either way in that match. Punk wins, Bryan wins. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
The fact is, because Punk came out today, because I don't know, did you hear that interview with him that he did yesterday? I think it was actually, and he talked about how he wants to face Bryan Danielson. He says he called him like a dream opponent for him now again. I think the match, and obviously his tease last week was, it got everyone really, really excited. But yeah, look, yeah, it'll either be Bryan Danielson, and if it's not him, it'll be Adam Cole. But if it's not Adam, I think I prefer Bryan Danielson just because I really want that match. Like, just because of the story, that the background from both guys, the fact that they both walked away under different circumstances, granted, but it both looked like they were done forever. They both came back. They're both the best in the world. There's so much there that it's a match that you can't not do. And I mean, and I think everyone wins because Darby wins, and people might be sad that Punk didn't, but at least you're going to get Punk and Bryan Danielson, and that's a worthy price to pay. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to expect. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be CM Punk wrestling. I'm happy at that. I don't really care who he wrestles or if he wins or he loses. I just want to see him wrestle a match again.
It'll be interesting to see how well he does. Like, he claims it's like riding a bike. He claims that he'll be able to go, but you hear from so many people, and people we've interviewed and said stuff like, there's a big difference between being in shape and being in ring shape. And for him to come out and say publicly, "Oh, he hasn't gotten to the ring much," it's quite alarming. But I don't care. Like, obviously, he was at the time 7 years ago probably the best in the world, no pun intended. But that's 7 years. No matter what you're doing, is a long time to be away. Like, we spoke about Michael Jordan there. He wasn't away for 7 years. He was only away for like a year and a half, 2 years. And he didn't come back the same for a while. It took him a while to get back.
Yeah.
To be at the level that he was at. So what's 7 years going to do? It's
I mean, not only is it 7 years out of the ring and like not practicing or whatever, but it's 7 years. He's 7 years older now. He's, his body's obviously changed in that time. He's lost weight and he pursued that. Like, he pursued an MMA career, and then we don't know how comfortable, I don't know, like, he looks in good shape, but like, we don't know his, how well has he been eating, all this kind of stuff. Like, there's many variables going into this, and like, is he going to be able to do the same offense that he used to be able to do? Is he going to be able to springboard off the top? Is he going to be able to hit a running knee? All that kind of stuff. There's a lot of variables, and look, I'm willing to put my trust in Punk, and that he says that he can go. I believe him.
Yeah.
But time will. And I think he'll be very, very adamant very early on whether he can or he can't. It'll be devastating if he can't. But for some reason I doubt it, and I think that's partially why Darby was chosen as well, because Darby can make anyone look like $1 million. So, because Darby can bump around like a mental case.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's All Out 2021. Or CM Punk pay-per-view, as I like to call it. Yeah, I mean, it's on Sunday, and I have no idea what to expect. I genuinely don't.
It's going to be very interesting. As I said, it's the only reason I'm watching the pay-per-view, because I've been waiting 7 years for it. So it'll be an interesting one. I think there's not much else we can say about it in terms of.
We have the 100th episode of Dynamite tonight, which is I think they announced the Darby and Punk face to face. I think there's going to be like a promo off between them.
It'll be an interesting one.
Which will be the last, last really good step in the road, But yeah, look, I can't wait. I can't wait for Punk. Everything else I can wait for. But anyway, look, is it going to main event? Is it not? I don't know. There's so many questions, and we'll get the answers to them all on Sunday. Yeah, there's like I said, there's not, or like you said, there's not much else to talk about. Like our minds are pretty much focused on one thing and one thing only.
Yeah, we can talk about everything else next week. The Nia Jax shit, and all that. All that next week. This is solely focused on CM Punk. CM Punk's returning. I'm really, really excited to see him wrestle. It's 7 years since we've seen him now. So and God knows we've gone on about it for long enough now. It's time to actually watch it. So I'm excited. And yeah, I think we'll best leave it there.
Yeah,
and
probably
come back
best
next week and talk about everything else, because I'm only focused on Punk right now.
Well, next week we can talk about the fallout of Punk, and then the week after that, we promise we'll talk about everything else.
And then the G1 will be coming up.
And then the G1 will be coming up, and we'll have plenty to talk about there. But yeah, we'll leave it at that. And yeah, make sure you're watching Sunday. I don't care what you're doing, watch Sunday, because if you're a wrestling fan, and it'd be weird if you're not and you're listening to this podcast, like you've been waiting as long as we have for this match, you need to watch it. So yeah, that's been us. That's been Just Because Wrestling. Stay tuned and yeah, enjoy Sunday.